Hey, happy opening day. I'm Andy MacNeil, host of the Puck Portfolio, Canada Sports Betting's new podcast where I provide projections, betting advice, and strategies to help you make informed bets weekdays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcast. Now, I've been working some intro lyrics for that song, but it's not ready yet, and we've got a lot to get to today, right? It's opening day in the NHL. The regular season kicks off today, Tuesday, October 10th. Now, some of you might know me from my time on Hockey Night in Canada, and you're probably thinking like, wow, this guy took a step down. He's hosting a YouTube show now. Maybe his sports media career hasn't gone as planned, but it is now more than ever, I think, because I've never really had a plan. I just love making predictions and betting on hockey, and one thing led to another. So here I am. I'm looking forward to connecting with all of you. I love sports betting. I love the NHL, and making predictions is a lot of fun. Now, I know all hockey fans love to make predictions. Some of you make better guesses than others. I do things a little bit differently, though. I start by conducting a bunch of statistical analysis to assign a numerical rating to every team. And then I factor in scheduling and historical trends and injuries to make predictions for all 1,300 plus regular season games. Then I simulate those predictions tens of thousands of times to generate projections that serve as estimates for finding out how often teams will hit certain milestones, like winning their respective division, making the playoffs, or even hoisting the Stanley Cup. You can check out my projections here. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, so feel free to pause the video, take a screenshot. While you're at it, hit that like button because it helps out a ton as we try to grow this show and I try to grow this channel here at canadasportsbetting.com. So do that for me right now. Take a screenshot. You can have a better look later. But I will say that Carolina, Toronto, Edmonton, and Dallas are the four teams that I have projected to win the respective divisions. The Stars, however, are the only team that isn't a favorite to do so at most sports books. The Oilers and the Hurricanes, they're the teams that I have projected to win the conferences, and they've got the best odds of winning the Stanley Cup. So as you can see, you'll see projected points for all 32 NHL teams, most points, their odds of winning the President's Trophy. Least points or worst record, that's their odds of finishing 32nd overall in the NHL, their odds of winning the division, making the playoffs, advancing through the playoffs, and finally winning the Stanley Cup. There's a whole lot more that I can look at with my projections, but obviously those are the most important markets, the most interesting markets here at the start of the season. And my favorite long shot bets. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about futures. I went over it in a previous video that you guys can check out whenever you feel like it. But I do love the Edmonton Oilers to win the President's Trophy, to finish with the most points at 9-1 plus 900. The Oilers should crush the regular season, and the Western Conference is not nearly as tough as the Eastern Conference. So I really like the Oilers' chances of finishing with the most points. In fact, I think they've got just as good of a chance as the Carolina Hurricanes. And if you compare the odds Carolina has to the odds Edmonton has, it's quite a difference. And I think 9-1 is a pretty good price for a team like the Oilers that could potentially cruise through the regular season, and a team that probably isn't going to cruise through the regular season, that's the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, it's nothing personal. I just think the Flyers are going to be really bad. My projection model has them finishing in last place about 20% of the time. So that means their odds of finishing in last place should be around 4-1, but they're not. They're plus 850. So another decent long shot. I like this bet a lot. And finally, now, I think the Stanley Cup futures market is mostly for squares, sorry, especially at this time in the season. But I think the Dallas Stars grayed out as a good bet. As I mentioned, they are the best team in the Central Division by my eye. And at 16-1, I think that's a little bit too generous here, because I've got the Stars winning the Stanley Cup around 8% of the time. I like them at 16-1 or 17-1, possibly out there. But let's say 16-1 for now, because those are the odds at Sports Interaction, which is the book we're going to look at right away as we talk about opening day odds. Now, we can check out opening day odds. We'll start with the Nashville Predators and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, the Predators were a much bigger underdog a week ago before the news broke that Andrei Vasilevsky was going to miss this game in the next 8 to 10 weeks of hockey. So obviously a big shift there with Jonas Johansson expected to get the start for the Lightning against UC Saros, who is currently one of the Vezina Trophy favorites to finish or win the award for best goaltender at the end of the season. So it's going to be a pretty tough test for the Lightning. The Predators, they should still be an underdog, but I think they should be a slightly smaller underdog. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I do think the Predators are the best bet available of any of the bets available on these 3 games in terms of the money line, which is the market that I like to bet into the most. So Nashville at plus 135, it's a good bet. A 1.7% play or a 1.7 unit play, however you want to look at it. We'll get to the projections in a little bit here. Let's keep looking at the odds that are available currently at Sports Interaction. The Blackhawks, of course, it's Connor Bedard's debut against his childhood hero, Sidney Crosby, and that's going to be exciting. Everybody wants to watch this one, and I don't blame them. But I think a lot of people are probably going to make some square bets on this one as well. You know, Connor Bedard to score a goal, etc. Maybe it's not a square bet, but I mean, it certainly seems like everybody and their dog wants to bet on Connor Bedard to score a goal tonight. So the Blackhawks are plus 195 underdogs. The Penguins minus 250 favorites. I don't think there's an edge here betting on either team. I think the Penguins should be priced closer to minus 215. We don't know if Jake Gensel is going to be in the lineup. He's a game time decision. That's probably the bigger story than Connor Bedard's debut, because I think that could have an impact here and how often Pittsburgh wins the game. Gensel, of course, one of the best goal scorers in the NHL, so we'll have to monitor that throughout the day. Maybe we don't get word on whether he'll play or not until closer to game time, which sounds like it could be the case. And lastly, we've got the Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights. They're raising the banner tonight in Vegas, hosting the Seattle Kraken, rubbing it in that, you know, Vegas has accomplished everything that they've accomplished in just 6 short years. So this one has come down a little bit. The Kraken were a bigger underdog. The Golden Knights now minus 165 on the money line. The Kraken coming back on the other side at plus 135. So a little bit of love for the Kraken out there, which doesn't surprise me. I think, you know, when I first looked at the odds for opening night, which, by the way, have been out for weeks, if not longer. So I'm not going to set the world on fire with any of my bets these first few days. These markets have been open for weeks, a month even, and they've been picked over and picked through. A lot of people have gone through and said, no, that's not a good bet. I'm not going to bet it. And that's why we're at where we're at right now. So for opening day, I've just got one play. Let's get to the projections here all right. So for opening 3, 2, 1. All right. For opening day, I've got one money line play. It's my favorite bet of either of the bets that I'm going to give out, but there is a bit of a caveat here. Some information that is pretty important that bettors should know before placing this bet. So let's get to the projections now, shall we? It's the Nashville Predators at plus 135, a 1.7 unit play. I think the Predators should be priced closer to plus 123. That means the Lightning should win this game around 55% of the time. Now, a week ago, the Predators were listed at plus 180 at a lot of sports books, a much bigger underdog. But of course, Jonas Johansson, the expected starter for the Tampa Bay Lightning, big step down from Andrei Vasilevsky, right? Big step down. So of course there's some movement in the odds. I still think the Predators are a good bet. I think they're a really good bet, but I was a lot more certain of it when they were plus 180 than I am now that they're plus 135, and that line has sort of gone stale. Hasn't seen a whole lot of movement recently. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe we get some closing line value. Maybe the Predators take some more action and the odds get better, you know, move in their favor. But I think this is probably where this one stays. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But nonetheless, the Predators at plus 135, they're my best bet for Tuesday, October 10th, opening day. Predators plus 135, 1.7 units over the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I don't have any other bets for opening day. It's like I said, I'm not going to set the world on fire here with these projections because, my game is to attack these markets as fast as I can. So, throughout the season, I'm going to be trying to jump ahead to the next day. Always stay one day ahead. I think that'll be really beneficial for any of you that are tuning in each day, which hopefully is a lot of you. But it's going to be a little bit slow to get going here. I mean, we've got to kind of just wait till things, till the sports books really can't keep up with us, till we can put a lot more work into this than they can, hopefully. And I think you'll see just how much work goes into trying to win at sports betting. It's a full-time job. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to, just realize just how much work goes into all of this. I've been doing it for a long time. It's a lot of fun, but it is a lot of work. And, the work that goes into winning isn't a whole lot of fun, but hopefully this show will be fun. Try to keep it light, try to give you good information, try to lead you down the right path. I can't promise you winnings, that's impossible to do, but I can promise you that you'll be a smarter sports bettor. You'll be more informed every day, and that's I think worth a lot. Especially given what's out there in the content space right now. So no bets here. I like the Vegas Golden Knights a little bit, I guess, but not enough that I would bet on them. The difference between minus 168 and minus 165, minus 168 being the odds that I think the Vegas Golden Knights deserve here. There's not a big difference. So I'm not going to be making a bet on either of those games unless something drastically changes. Right now, it's just the Preds, 1.7 units at plus 135. We'll lock that in. And we will move on to talking about some injuries. Of course, we talked about Andrei Vasilevsky. We talked about Jake Gensel. The Vegas Golden Knights, they're going to be missing a couple of defensemen, Alec Martinez and Zach Whitecloud, to start the season. And there are a whole lot of other injured players that I think are worth talking about here. So let's get into that right now with the Anaheim Ducks. Alex Killorn, their big offseason acquisition. He's going to have to wait to make his season debut with the Anaheim Ducks. He is expected to miss about a month due to a fractured finger sustained during a preseason game. Updates on his status are expected around the end of the month or early November. Anaheim also lost Leo Carlsson, their number 2 overall pick in the 2023 NHL entry draft, to a lower body injury. It's unclear when Carlsson is going to make his season debut, but I know we'll all be waiting for that because it's going to be really interesting to watch him this season. The Carolina Hurricanes, Andrei Svechnikov, he's recovering from knee surgery. He practiced in a yellow jersey on Friday, but he should be ready for the regular season opener, according to the team. We'll see if that's the case on Wednesday. Same goes for Avalanche forward Mikko Rantanen. He's expected to play in the upcoming game against the Los Angeles Kings. And that is also the case for Wyatt Johnson and Rupe Hintz of the Dallas Stars. They're expected to be in the lineup against the Blues on Wednesday, but it's unclear if Oilers defenseman Matthias Ekholm will be active for their game against the Canucks on Wednesday. He's nursing a hip injury. The team is not going to rush him back. He's such an important player. It's a big loss not to have him in the lineup at the start of the regular season. I'm going to go ahead and assume that he won't be in the lineup Wednesday and just deal with it on a day-by-day basis going forward. But I think it's safer to assume that Ekholm will not be in the lineup on Wednesday. And the Florida Panthers, I mean, their Stanley Cup run came at a price, right? The 2 best defensemen on that team, Aaron Ekblad and Brandon Montour, they're going to be out until January by the sounds of it. So that's a big loss for the Panthers, and also a big loss, Sam Bennett, who is battling an unknown issue. He's unlikely to play against the Wild and could be out about a week by the sounds of things, but still kind of unclear what's going on with Sam Bennett. Kings forward Arthur Kaliev, he's a player to watch this season. Really, really talented, but he's serving a 2-game suspension for kneeing. He can return on October 17th against the Winnipeg Jets. Minnesota Wild defenseman Jarrett Spurgeon is out with an upper body injury, and he is considered week to week. So that's a big loss for the Minnesota Wild, who are trying to make some noise in that Central Division. And Rangers forwards Lafreniere and Hedl, their availability is unclear for Thursday's matchup against the Sabres. Some uncertainty there as far as what the Rangers lineup will look like. And it's also unclear if Flyers goaltender Carter Hart will be active for Thursday's matchup with the Blue Jackets. He's dealing with an illness. Sharks captain Logan Couture is currently sidelined with a lower body injury, and there is no timetable for his recovery. Same goes for Same goes for Carson Soucy, one of the Canucks offseason acquisitions. He's out with a leg injury, and there is no timetable for his recovery. Forward Anthony Beauvillier is also dealing with something, an illness by the sounds of it. It's unknown if he'll suit up for Wednesday's showdown with the Oilers. Tough break for the Winnipeg Jets and Ville Heinola, who suffered a fractured ankle in the preseason. He's got a lot of pedigree, but he hasn't been able to get his career on track here. He's expected to miss 8 to 12 weeks while on the injured reserve list, and it remains to be seen if Nikolai Ehlers is going to be in the lineup or not. He was a full participant in practice on Monday, but he's missed 65 games over the last 2 seasons. But let's stop messing around. We will get into Wednesday's games now. I think that's pretty important. So let's look at Wednesday's games. I've got one bet that I like on Wednesday, another money line underdog. Gotta love it. It is the Ottawa Senators. I think they should be priced around plus 169. If you look over here at Sports Interaction, they're not. They're at plus 180. So that's a good bet. Not as good as the Predators, despite the longer odds, but good enough for a 0.6 unit play. So 1.7 units on the Predators at plus 135 to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning straight up, and 0.6 units on the Ottawa Senators to beat the Carolina Hurricanes straight up. Hopefully one of those underdogs will hit, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I mean, I'm expected to start the season 0-2. We'll see if that happens. Hopefully Nashville will come through because, like I said, they were a great bet a week ago. Maybe not so much now. We'll find out. But the Predators are definitely an intriguing team, not just today, but heading into this season. And so are the Senators. The Senators are an intriguing group as well. I know there's a lot of hype. And this plus 180 price at Sports Interaction is the best you'll find out there right now. I mean, I wouldn't bet the Senators at plus 175. I would bet them at plus 180. So that's the difference right there. So if you do see the Senators at the sports book of your choice listed at plus 175, that's not a bet that I would make. I would make the bet at plus 180, and it's a relatively small bet, 0.6 units. So a little bit better than a half size wager that will pay out a little bit more than 1 unit if it hits. So that would be nice to go along with hopefully a Predators win, and maybe we can start the season 2-0 instead. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm going to enjoy just being back in the swing of things here. Really excited. But yeah, let's talk about some of the other games here. We've got the Canadiens in Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs. Of course, these two teams always link up really early in the season. And if you look at historical records here, even in the last 10 or 15 years, regardless of which team is, perceived to be the favorite. I mean, there have been years where, Toronto is one of the best teams in the league, Montreal not so much, and vice versa. It doesn't seem to matter. These two teams just seem to go head to head, and it seems to be a coin flip. It's a close game every time. But the projection model, it thinks the Maple Leafs are a big enough favorite that I can't justify betting on the Canadiens. But I think if I was just flipping coins here, I would probably be looking to back the Montreal Canadiens, because I mean, they seem to show up regardless when it comes to playing in Toronto to open the season. So I'm interested to watch this game. Really interested to see how the Maple Leafs look here early in the season. I know there's I think a lot of nervousness here. That the team looks good, of course, but a lot of changes took place over the summer, and it'll be interesting to see just how they shake out in the regular season. But let's get back to the projections here. I've got the Maple Leafs roughly minus 280. That's what I think the odds should be, as you can see on the screen here. Same goes for the Boston Bruins, who have the exact same odds at Sports Interaction, minus 300. The Blackhawks coming back on the other side at plus 240. Of course, Chicago is playing back to back. They're in Pittsburgh on Tuesday. Sounds like Peter Mrazek is going to start for the Blackhawks in Pittsburgh, and that means Arvid Soderblom will likely start, almost certainly start for the Blackhawks on Wednesday in Boston. So tough start for the Blackhawks. It'll be interesting to see how the Bruins perform against this Blackhawks team. I think there's a lot of uncertainty there. You know, how good is this Boston team, right? They lost Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci. I mean, how good can they really be? So it's going to be really interesting. They got kind of a light schedule here. If you look the first month of the season, so maybe they'll surprise some people, but it'll be maybe a little tough to find out if they're actually for real or not, or if they're just the beneficiaries uh, of an easy schedule. So we'll have to wait and see on the Boston Bruins. Thankfully, I'm not going to be laying a big price on Boston here against Chicago to start the season. And then the Calgary Flames, who I think should be about around a minus 130 favorite. They're minus 140 at Sports Interaction, which means that there's no value on this one, either on Winnipeg or Calgary. Like I gotta say, right? I'm not gonna set the world on fire with my bets these first few days, because these betting markets have been available for weeks, if not a month, and they've been picked over, and a lot of people have gone through and said, not a good bet. I'm gonna pass. For the last few weeks. So I mean, you got to kind of tread lightly here. You don't want to be too confident, and I think it's more or less a good sign that things have kind of trended towards where I think they should be in terms of the line movement here over the last few weeks, and we'll see how that holds up today, since it is game day now, and the amount of money that's going to be bet into these markets is going to be a lot more now that it's game day. So we'll see how that holds up. But I really don't think any of the games on Wednesday, October 11th, offer a ton of value. I've got a small edge on the Oilers at minus 160. As you can see, I think they should be priced closer to minus 165. I'm worried I'm a little bit too harsh on the Canucks, but not a big enough edge to justify a bet on the Oilers. So right now, it's just the Senators at plus 180. Like I said, the best odds that you can get right now in the betting market, plus 180 at Sports Interaction. That's not hyperbole. That is a fact as of the time of this recording. So if you're going to bet the Senators, shop around for the best price. You know where to find it right at this time, and that's Sports Interaction, or Bet MGM. Is also offering plus 180. Maybe some other sports books, have a look around, but definitely do not just skimp out and bet plus 175 if those are the odds available to you. Be price sensitive. Try to shop around for the best odds. It's going to mean it might not mean that you win more, but you'll probably lose less if you do that. So it can be a big advantage for bettors. Probably the biggest advantage that bettors have is that we don't have to make bets. The sports books, they've got to throw odds up if they want us to make bets, but we've got the ability to say no at the end of the day, right? So we don't have to make every bet, and we can choose what time is the right time to make a bet. But yeah, let's wrap this up here for opening day. I'm really happy that you guys join me here on the Puck Portfolio. Once again, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit subscribe on the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel, rate and follow us on your preferred podcast platform. That'll really help out as well. So that's it for me. I'll be back on Wednesday to look at updated betting lines and look ahead to Thursday. We're always going to try to stay a step ahead here on the Puck Portfolio. Hopefully that'll set us apart from other hockey betting shows and make this your preferred choice for hockey betting content. Thanks for joining me.